The left has gone crazy. It doesn't matter what amazing things are being done by the Trump administration. Record low unemployment, new trade agreements, ISIS destroyed. The liberal hate towards President Trump is unprecedented. This week the FEMA the FCC announced a new program that would aid in getting information out residents in hurricane-ravaged areas. But there is a curveball to this new program that has the left's head spinning. Chicks on the Right wrote, "A lot of leftists are definitely suffering from Trump Derangement Syndrome. They say they hate President Donald Trump and want him to go away but can't stop talking about him, thinking about him or complaining about him." And on Friday, they received news that sent some into a panic. The Federal Emergency Management Agency (FEMA) will be testing a new part of the Emergency Alert System (EAS). They're working on an alert that allows Trump to message Americans on their cell phones. FEMA made the announcement in a statement. The Federal Emergency Management Agency (FEMA), in coordination with the Federal Communications Commission (FCC), will conduct a nationwide test of the Emergency Alert System (EAS) and Wireless Emergency Alerts (WEA) on September 20, 2018. The WEA portion of the test commences at 2:18 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, and the EAS portion follows at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. The test will assess the operational readiness of the infrastructure for distribution of a national message and determine whether improvements are needed. This is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. No action is needed, the message will say. Another message will go out over radio and television as well. The EAS is a national public warning system that provides the president with the communications capability to address the nation during a national emergency, the statement continued. The test is made available to EAS participants, i.e., radio and television broadcasters, cable systems, satellite radio and television providers, and wireline video providers, and is scheduled to last approximately 1 minute. That's driving the leftists over the edge. Users may opt of receiving alerts in the imminent threat and amber categories but cannot opt out of receiving presidential alerts, FEMA said. Presidential alerts are to be used during a national emergency, though none have been sent to date. This will be the first national WEA test. What happened to this country? This happens weekly, some new outrage over nothing. Politico wrote, "The left loses its cool when you're violent and cursing and screaming and blocking me from walking into a movie. There's something wrong," said one top GOP official. 2 senior Trump administration officials were heckled at restaurants. A third was denied service. Florida GOP Attorney General Pam Bondi required a police escort away from a movie about Mr. Rogers after activists yelled at her in Tampa, where 2 other Republican lawmakers say they were also politically harassed last week, one of them with her kids in tow. In the Donald Trump era, the left is as aggressively confrontational as at any time in recent memory. What it means for 2018, whether it portends a blue wave of populist revolt for Democrats or a red wall of silent majority resistance from Republicans, largely depends on one's political persuasion. But there's a bipartisan sense that this election season marks another inflection point in the collapse of civil political discourse. Few disagree that Democrats are marching, protesting and confronting Republican officials with more intensity during the midterm elections than at any time in decades. The progressive fervor recalls conservative opposition to the previous president in his first midterm, when Democratic members of Congress were left running from disruptive town halls and ended up being crushed at the polls in November. If you see anybody from that cabinet, in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere, implored California Democratic Representative Maxine Waters at a Saturday rally, prompting an immediate conservative backlash on social media. The intense, in-your-face approach toward public officials is only expected to intensify, fueled by social media and what appears to be an increasingly polarized and angry electorate.